I'm disabled. I'm in a wheelchair. That's a fact. And there's nothing I can do about it. I'm getting to a point in my life now where I'm almost 33 years old. And I have to start accepting that I'm disabled, I'm in a wheelchair. It might seem a little weird that it's taken me this long to actually realise that and accept it. Let me explain. I started using a wheelchair when I was around about 18 years old. I was diagnosed with my condition when I was 14. And I was actually born with it. It's a genetic problem. It's called Friedreich's ataxia. And it's there's nothing I can do about it. There's no cure for it or anything, or treatment or anything. It it doesn't display itself or show symptoms of having it till puberty. Until puberty, usually it does change from patient to patient, but for me, it didn't start showing anything until I was 11, 12 years old. Up until that point, I had just been generally considered to be a slightly clumsy person. I was forever knocking into walls and doors and things. I would knock cups off tables. I would just lose my balance when walking around. Just general being clumsy. And that's what I was put down to. Then when I was around about 13, I was, I was taken with my mum to a doctor to perform voice tests to see what was wrong. When I was 14, he came back to me with a diagnosis of I had this condition called Friedreich's ataxia. Now, to be honest, I don't really know too much about it. I chose to live in ignorance rather than face up to things. But as far as I'm aware, it is a genetic problem that affects your central nervous system and your motor skills, and therefore I cannot walk anymore. I have very weak hands. I have poor hand coordination. I seem to have lost a lot of strength and dexterity in my fingers. My voice has become very slurred. Um, my vision is holding out actually. If it's deteriorating, it is at a very slow pace. But as a result of Friedrich's, I have a heart condition which I'm taking medication for, and I also am insulin dependent diabetic as a result of Friedrich's. So all in all, it's not very fun at all. Um, like I say, I'm just sort of having to come to terms and accept all of this now. It might seem, it might seem strange that after having lived with it or living aware of it for so many years, I'm only now becoming aware of it and becoming get to a point where I have to accept it. Well, let me explain. From the age of 14, when I got diagnosed, I always had a distraction. I always had something to stop me thinking about myself and my future and what was going to happen to me. I was, when I was diagnosed, I was playing guitar in a punk band, and as far as I'm concerned, that was what I was going to do with my future. I was going to be a musician, and what helped me cope throughout my teenage years was the fact that I had a distraction. I had something to stop me thinking about what was gonna happen to me eventually. Um, and that worked very well until I was around about 25 when my band split up, and the girlfriend I was living with at the time, she had been cheating on me, and she moved out and took all her stuff. And I was saying all this happened within a few weeks of each other. I was certainly in a position where I didn't have distraction. I had to think about something else. And unfortunately, I could only focus on me. And then the only thing I could do from that point was put another band together and have another distraction, and that worked for a while. And then when that fell apart, I formed another band to keep the distraction going. But then that kind of fell apart, and it fell apart in a worse way because I came to a position where I was trying to record stuff and I was getting really frustrated. I was getting very frustrated that I couldn't play the chords the way I wanted them to play. I couldn't sing in the way that I wanted to sing. And I'd look at it and my fingers, my hands were becoming weaker and weaker and weaker. To the point of where I really couldn't play guitar anymore. And I had to make a very realistic decision then about hanging my guitars up and giving up playing because I couldn't do it anymore. And then because of all that, I no longer had a distraction. I had to, excuse me, I had to face up to I had to think about myself once because I knew I couldn't rely on having anything to distract me from it. But then it really came to a head when a few years ago my younger sister, who has the same condition as me, got married. And then a few months ago she gave birth to her first child. And that's wonderful and that's great and all that. But it just kind of puts things into a different perspective when your younger sister, who has to deal with the same traumas that I have to deal with in my life, she seems to be getting on with things, being normal in that sense. And and it's made me rethink about my life and the fact that because I have this, that, and the other going on, there's no reason for me not to have this, that, and the other that everyone else seems to have. Um, but I also kind of know that the only way I'm gonna get into the right state of mind to think about having a normal kind of life is it will only start to happen once I begin to accept my condition and accept my limitations. I don't know. I hope I'm explaining this right to people. Um, you know, I don't even know if anyone's even watching these videos, or even if you have started, I don't even know if you're still watching now. If you are, brilliant, thank you. But talking and putting myself out there and putting words to my condition, I think, is kind of helping me. So yeah, it's kind of helping me. Kind of helping me expect it a little bit, accept it a little bit more if I put out there for people to listen to and understand what I'm going through and don't I'm not looking for people to take pity on me or sympathise with me or anything like that. I don't even expect people to understand or anything really. I don't expect other people to do. I'm not expecting people to do things for me. I'm just doing this as a way of just doing this a way of making it seem more like a real thing to me as such. If that makes sense, if that works out for you, in my head, it works out perfectly. Everything I say makes complete sense, but maybe to you lot it doesn't. I don't know. But anyway, Friedrich's Ataxia. It's what I have. It's not fun. It's pretty shitty. Um, if you're interested, go and search some stuff out. That'd be quite cool. And yeah, thank you for watching.